Disney's upcoming Snow White movie, with a staggering $400 million budget, has already earned a reputation as one of the most disliked films ever, and that's no exaggeration. The backlash is intense, with over 2 million dislikes drowning out fewer than 100,000 likes. With its release just a month away, the film is in a disastrous position.
Reminded me of how much I have a strong dislike and have terrible taste in my mouth basically for modern day Disney. I think it's filth, guys, but let's go ahead and check this out immediately. How Snow White just became the most hated movie ever.
After dropping their first trailer in August 2024, which racked up over 1 million dislikes, Disney promised to make some major changes. But, as usual, it was all talk. Then came their next attempt at damage control, a new trailer in November. But instead of releasing it publicly, Disney tried to keep it hidden. Even after it leaked and spread online, they still refused to upload it officially. It felt like they were desperately trying to keep this movie under wraps, hoping to delay the inevitable backlash. But reality caught up with them. On December 3rd, Disney finally caved and posted the trailer on YouTube, and let's just say, the internet didn't hold back. Within no time, the video racked up over 1 million dislikes, and the numbers are still climbing. Shockingly, Disney actually left the comments on, and honestly, the comment section is more entertaining than anything they've put out in years. People are absolutely roasting this movie, with gems like, "This is the first movie nobody is going to pirate, and at this point, the trailer's monetization will make more money than the actual film." And if you think people are exaggerating, nope. The trailer really is that bad. It somehow manages to cram in every mistake modern Disney keeps making. Overly bright. Artificial CGI? Check. Forced, preachy messaging? Absolutely. The complete butchering of beloved characters? You bet. It's like they took all the worst elements of recent Disney failures and combined them into one massive disaster. The worst part? It doesn't even feel like Snow White. Disney seems torn between remaking the classic and turning it into something unrecognizable. They throw in moments pulled straight from the original, but they feel shoehorned in, like they're just hoping nostalgia will trick people into watching. Yet at the same time, they've rewritten so much that none of it fits together. How do you go from Snow White being tricked into eating the apple to her bravely standing up to the queen? The original had a clear, simple structure. This just feels like a disjointed mess.
It sounds like you want to lose money. Whoever is over there, leading Disney, they're trying to virtue signal in a way that is just turning people off, bro.
Speaking of messes, let's talk about that CGI. This might be some of the worst animation Disney has ever produced. It's painfully obvious that they rushed this part of the film, with zero attention to detail. The creatures formerly known as dwarves look lifeless, the backgrounds feel artificial and soulless, and the whole thing resembles a cheap 3D filter slapped onto the original animation. Calling this a live-action remake is almost insulting. It's more like a low-budget experiment gone wrong. And honestly, that's pretty hilarious.
I always said it would be good if Grumpy, like Snow White opens the door and she's like, "Here's the 7 dwarves," and it's just Grumpy pickaxing somebody to death. And it's just like, oh my god. And then Grumpy kills all the dwarves.
And it's not just the CGI that's off. The entire production feels cheap. The sets look fake. The costumes lack that grand fairy tale charm, and it seems like Disney cut every possible corner to save money. Compare this to Cinderella, 2015. Lily James' dress looked like it was straight out of a dream, but Rachel Zegler's costume in this film? Completely underwhelming. It's shocking that there's barely a 10-year gap between these movies because the quality difference is massive. Now, let's talk about the acting. Rachel Zegler has been at the center of the controversy surrounding this movie, and while she's undeniably a strong singer, her off-screen comments have made it tough for audiences to root for her. But surprisingly, her acting isn't the biggest problem here. That honor goes to Gal Gadot as the evil queen. Disney villains are supposed to be larger than life. Think of how much fun actors like Glenn Close and Angelina Jolie had playing Cruella and Maleficent. The best villains own their roles, stealing every scene and making audiences love to hate them. But here, Gadot's performance is completely flat. There's no real presence, no intensity. just a watered-down version of what should be one of Disney's most iconic villains. Take the Lion King Scar, for example. When Jeremy Irons voiced him, he didn't just play a villain, he became one. His performance in Be Prepared was dripping with charisma, menace, and theatrical flair. Even decades later, it's still one of the most memorable Disney villain portrayals. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot's evil queen struggles to bring even a fraction of that energy. This character is supposed to be chillingly vain, obsessed with being the fairest of them all, and ruthless enough to commit murder to keep her status. In the original film, her transformation into the old hag symbolized how her obsession consumed her. But in this remake, that sinister, calculating presence is completely missing. Gadot's queen doesn't feel obsessed. She just seems mildly annoyed. It's like she's more frustrated with Snow White's attitude than her beauty, which completely undercuts the character's entire motivation. And Disney's rewrite of Snow White's role hasn't helped either. They've made it clear this version is nothing like the 1937 classic. Gone is the princess dreaming of love and kindness. Instead, we have a character who, according to Rachel Zegler, doesn't need a prince and is too busy planning her future as a leader. The problem isn't updating the story, it's how aggressively they're rejecting the original in the process. The whole point of Snow White was that it was a simple, timeless fairy tale. But Disney seems embarrassed by its own legacy, bending over backward to modernize something that didn't need fixing. And there's one person who's been at the center of this entire marketing and PR disaster, Rachel Zegler herself.
And then later on, it was just like, what? Who is that person? Why is she on the screen? I would prefer for her not to be there. Just like the whole, like everything that was happening, it just felt like a gigantic, weird, niche culture shift that was going on, I think.
From the moment Rachel Zegler took the lead role, she managed to spark controversy at every turn. Whether it was her immature and thoughtless comments about the original movie, her constant online feuds, or her clear disdain for the role she was given, Zegler has made it obvious she doesn't exactly respect the character she's playing. But the real damage came when she openly mocked and insulted Disney fans. She managed to turn half the country against her with inflammatory posts on social media, especially during the 2024 election season. But after the election, she crossed every line, taking to Instagram to call Trump a threat to democracy and saying his supporters should never know peace. Now, regardless of anyone's political stance, this was a massive mistake. Disney movies are meant to appeal to everyone, and when the lead actress publicly alienates a huge portion of potential moviegoers, she's just handing the studio another problem it didn't need. And things only get worse for Disney. This isn't just a PR nightmare, it's a financial disaster, too. The studio has been bleeding money for years, and Snow White is shaping up to be one of its biggest money pits yet. The budget has spiraled out of control, and at this rate, it's looking like an expensive mistake Disney won't recover from anytime soon.
Snow White 2025 budget. Yeah, they have $209 million in this movie. Waste of money. Actual waste of money. Don't even remake it. No need to remake it. Make a new movie.
Originally, Snow White was supposed to cost significantly less, but after disastrous test screenings and massive backlash over the diverse magical creatures replacing the dwarves, Disney scrambled to fix the film. That meant expensive reshoots, more CGI, and a completely new marketing strategy. According to Forbes, these changes pushed the budget up to a staggering $269 million, and even that wasn't enough. The UK government provided a $55 million tax break, yet Snow White still ranks among Disney's most expensive projects ever. And these aren't even the final numbers. With all the extra work going into post-production and marketing, the total cost could exceed $400 million. That's an insane amount of money for a movie that already seems destined to fail. Just for comparison, The Little Mermaid barely broke even last year, and that film had a lead actress who was actually well-received by audiences. Snow White, on the other hand, has Rachel Zegler, a woman who has practically dared people not to watch the movie. What do you think about Disney's latest flop? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more amazing videos. See you in the next one.